I'm Chris Bussing. Welcome to my channel. Long story short, it's committed to helping you succeed in tech sales and get the most out of life. I've got some great guests on the channel, and we've got a repeat offender today, Ren Hawthorne. She is a tech sales queen. She's got the tech sales Midas touch. She broke into tech sales in 2 weeks and already navigated to a whole new role, and she's just crushed it. So excited to have the chance to learn from her today, everything SDRing and tech sales. Before we dive in though, make sure to subscribe to the channel for weekly videos and like the videos so more people could benefit from the message. Ren, so good to have you again. How's your day going today?
Thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate it. Day is going great. It's been a really good day, and the weather was, oh man, it was almost like 75 degrees. So it's been a pretty good day.
And so you're in Virginia, right? And didn't you move from another place? Can you talk about, I guess you had a recent lifestyle transformation, didn't you?
I did. I just moved from the DC area, and I am now in Richmond, Virginia. And this is totally new, 2 weeks ago, literally, as of tomorrow.
Dang. Well, so how did it, I don't know, you get to where you're at today? Did tech sales, it's a leading question, but were we at before tech sales? And then, can you talk about that journey and how it's a broad question, but how has it benefited you in terms of a lifestyle change?
Sheesh, goodness, man. Tech sales, it's changed the entire trajectory of my life. So just before this, moving to Richmond, I was in, like I said, the DC area. And right before that, I was in Atlanta. So I left Atlanta because one, I was walking dogs then. Yeah. And I was just having a hard time with, maintaining off of that money that I was making. So it was really just hard for me to have my own place and take care of all the bills that come along with that. So, yeah, I ended up coming to the DC area, which is where my mom lives. And I ended up moving in with her just until I kind of got my ducks in a row to figure out what was going to be next. So yeah, like I said, I was a dog walker making maybe $35K per year. And granted, I loved what I did. It was very enjoyable. I love the pups. The pups are I just was pet sitting.
Who did you walk for? Was it Rover or Wag or one of those, or was it I forget, you might've told me, were you your own independent thing or?
Gotcha. Yeah, no. So I worked for a few ladies that had their own companies, just different companies that I worked for. And they were all just so nice and gracious enough to give me a job, working with the pups. But yeah, so, that's just kind of something that I did on and off since 2019, just to be able to, just have some cash flow coming in. So there was a time in 2009 or 2018 where I got really sick. So once I got back on my feet in 2019, I was advised to take the least stressful route in terms of a job. And that's when I got into dog walking. And ever since then, it's just something I've just kind of done. But yeah, so, to go from that to, crossing over into tech and, being able to make the money that I've been able to make, and we'll get into that, I'm sure. It's just really honestly afforded me a life that I'd always wanted to live, but it wasn't quite sure of how to navigate to get here. So yeah, life has done a complete 180.
And it's interesting, you did go from one of the least stressful jobs out there, walking dogs. I mean, that's just good for the soul to be around puppies. My puppy Bella's over on the side here, and
hey, Bella.
She makes a guest appearance. It's funny. She's just can be chaotic sometimes, but I love it. But going from a not stressful job to tech sales, and let's be real, I just had a guest yesterday, Andy, and it's uncomfortable to call strangers that probably don't want to talk to you, but that's pretty badass that you jumped into something that actually really does stretch you as a person. And I'm curious, your experience. I feel like you do things with ease. You again kind of have that Midas touch, but what we'll bounce around in the conversation today. I'm just, for some reason, I just want to go here. What's been the reality of getting into tech sales? Has it been a grind? And I guess we could first look at your Zoom Info role, because that's where you started.
For sure. Yeah. So going back to Zoom Info, actually, Chris, that first month, I cried a lot. if I'm being
Really?
if I'm being 100% transparent. And it wasn't because oh, the job is just so hard, as much as it was, I have a learning disability. So for me, it was just hard to, learn and retain the information when everyone else was learning it so quickly. And I felt like I was so behind. What was taking everybody a day or two was taking me, a week and a half just to get that one thing. So, that was kind of hard for me. But ultimately, tech sales itself, I didn't really run into any kind of like being scared of cold calling, only because I did wholesaling real estate before. And with wholesaling real estate, if any of you have ever done that, then you are calling the owners of these homes, out of the blue, and asking them if they want to sell, their property. So I didn't have so much, any anxiety with that. My anxiety definitely came in around, knowing the product. And Zoom Info, we have different products. We've got Marketing OS, Talent OS, all of these different things that are under our umbrella. And that was where my anxiety came from, knowing what product to market to each prospect when I get on the phone with them. So that was definitely nerve-wracking. For sure. That was nerve-wracking part for me.
And so what was the reality of the job beyond like it being nerve-wracking to learn the product? And it's not easy, right? And there's some solutions that can get really technical in tech,
Yeah.
But what was it like in terms of volume of activity? Did it feel like, candidly, did it feel like a sweatshop, or did you feel like you had balance?
For sure. That was overwhelming as well. So our call volume was about 100 to like 125.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot. You are making those dials back and forth. And, the company that I was working for, they wanted you to get about 15 to 20 dials per hour. So between that, sending off, emails, and then it's like, then you're trying to play catch up. You're trying to get back to the people that have emailed you.
Oh, good point.
You know what I'm saying? While also sending off new emails, and then you're trying to play catch up with those. And so, and anybody that maybe you've missed a call from, and they left you a voicemail or sent me a message on LinkedIn. So you kind of feel like you're being pulled in so many different directions every single day. So that is definitely stressful. And then you throw in, a high call volume, every single day. And it's just like, oh my gosh, like what am I doing? And so that's definitely where getting some kind of system in place is super necessary, because when I tell you that first month and a half or so, I was all over the place. I felt like it was never going to get better. And
I still am in some ways, honestly.
Yeah. And it does get better in a sense where, you do find what works for you, what tasks you should get to first, or, you figure out a way to navigate your days that work for you. But man, like that first month and a half or two was really, really rough for me, honestly, just trying to get in a more of a routine with it.
It's what they call drinking out of the fire hose. And you just broke into a whole new category of tech.
Yeah.
And, B2B tech, and also a new product. Let's say, like, even when you navigate to new opportunities, like you just landed a great new role, which I'm excited to dive into, because I think you really hit the sweet spot of what people should be thinking on in terms of finding that dream company, So really excited for you and excited to dig into it. But even navigating, once you've been in tech, to a different company, a different product set, it's a lot. You drink out of the fire hose, but I feel like you push through and eventually it gets a little easier. But I wanted to ask you, how did you organize yourself? Like, what worked for you to help you kind of keep the chaos under control? How did you prioritize? Just a couple tips, like whether it was the way you used your calendar or prioritize different things. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the biggest things I would honestly say is reminders. And for me, the reminder started the day before. And I found that if I set some reminders for like say today, I set reminders to call these 20 people tomorrow. Well, hey, that's the first hour, I've got 20 people to dial right there, within the first hour or so of my day. So just kind of going by that was really, really good for me. Setting those reminders, setting those tasks that's super big. Actually, my manager at the company that I was working for, he just kind of let some of my coworkers know, hey, Ren is doing a really great job of setting up some tasks, which end up setting her up for the rest of her day or for the next day. So that was like super big for me to stay, just kind of in line with everything. And then allotting time for certain things. I understand, sometimes it's like, okay, I need to get to this email. I need to call this person back. But I would say for myself, like, okay, this hour, nothing but dials. Next hour, I'm going to focus on dials as well, but for like 30 minutes. And then the first half of that first 30 minutes of that hour, I was sending off emails or, maybe getting back to an email. So just prioritizing things like that, because it's very easy to get overwhelmed with all of the different tasks that you have to do. So that's something that helped me a lot. And then, in order to kind of keep because tech sales and coming in as a BDR, SDR can be such a go, go, go kind of grind. One thing that actually kept me in line was going for walks. Like I have to take a minute to step away, because guys, we're in front of a computer all day, every single day. We're dialing all day, every single day, And so it's like at some point, I had to step away so that way I could come back refreshed and ready to tackle whatever tasks I had set for myself for the next half of the day.
Man, you're so right. You got to take a walk like that.
Yeah.
And what you'll find too, like, is and I assuming at internal meetings, like sometimes if you can take an internal meeting and you're not on camera, but you just go for a walk. We do that in my current company. It's so important, because I still fall into the trap sometimes myself, where I just get so like bogged down with meetings or prospecting, and then my brain's fried and I didn't get a workout in. I didn't like take care of myself. And so there's a couple, I'm the king of tangents. There's like 3 different directions I want to go in right now, but like one that we can land on is, how do you, balance out your mental health? Because I mean, let's be real, it's ups and downs. You get rejected. The guest I had on yesterday had a crazy voicemail where a customer like cussed him out, and like it was like really, it was actually hilarious. And he called him right back the next day, and I think the guy was drunk at 3 a.m. But
man,
you deal with ups and downs. So how? Maybe walking is one thing, but do you have any other mindset tips or self-care tips from a mental health perspective?
So everything for me starts the day, the morning of. So the morning of, the night of, of course, or the night before, shall I say. But the morning of, what I mean by that, it's everything that I do that is a part of my routine. Meditation is a huge part of my routine. That is what keeps me grounded mentally, because I know me, I can get really anxious really quickly. I can get really overwhelmed really quickly.
Yeah, me too.
And so to be able to say, you know what, the first hour and a half of my day is dedicated to my workouts and my prayer and my meditation time. And then I journal as well for, just a couple minutes, kind of my morning gratitude, what I'm grateful for that morning. And that really helps me. And then also one of the things I find that's really helped me is, because we are in front of a screen all day, I make it a point after work to completely just shut my phone down for an hour. And just check in with myself. Man, today was rough, or, this is where I did a really good job at today, or this is where I could use, a little more tweaking. It allows me to check in with myself, not just with work, but how am I feeling? Where is your head at? How do you feel? Do you feel tired? One thing that I've noticed is working out is really important to me. So typically I'll do a workout in the morning and an evening workout. And I will find that if I am just so it's never physical because we're sitting in front of a computer all day. But I find that if I'm so mentally drained that I don't want to go for my evening workout, then I really need to do some digging and search within what's going on. Where are you? How are you feeling mentally? Because it might not just be work. It might be things that are going on in my personal life. So yeah, so I, an hour after work, I completely shut the phone down because I'm in front of a screen all day, and I want to at least give myself that time to check in with how I'm truly feeling, and kind of assess and best get myself to a better space.
Checking in with how we're actually feeling, that's so insightful, because I've recognized that sometimes I don't even understand what I'm feeling, and there's just power in being able to label, to recognize, and then to, like you said, acknowledge maybe there's something beyond work, that's going on. And I've had times in my life where when there was a pandemic, I fell into a depression. So there was a macro event that was a serious issue, and I'm a serial extrovert, and it sucked that I walked in, but I don't think I didn't check in enough, and I was go, go, go. And then I fell deeper than I would have wanted to. I could have caught it earlier. So I just think from a mental health perspective, that is so important. To just,
very important. Check in with yourselves, guys, because, I tell people I tend to be that strong friend where everyone's like, oh, Ren, you're always just so happy and just so this. And because of that, people don't really feel the need to check in on you because they think that you're just always good. And actually this week, to your point, Chris, this week, I had a day where I didn't really know what was going on. I just knew that I didn't feel like myself. And so I had to talk myself through it. Okay, what's changed this week? What are you thinking about? Where are your thoughts? Just those kinds of things are really important with this kind of job, because you are being rejected all day long. So you almost tend to, whatever's going on in your personal life, and then you being rejected all day, you almost take on that rejection as if like it's something wrong with you. It's not. It's not anything. It has nothing to do with who you are as a person. It's just the name of the game, and that's just kind of what happened today. But you don't have to take that on,
Yeah, I think sales is an opportunity, and obviously we talk tech sales because it's really the best niche to be in right now, and it's awesome. But sales is an opportunity to learn to separate our intrinsic value, which I believe is a 10 out of 10 when you're born, and it doesn't change. Separate that from rejection and opinion of others, realize it's not personal, that value is untouchable, and then also from performance. And I think part of the reason I was depressed in the pandemic too, not only was there a pandemic and I was an extrovert, like kind of bottled in and not being able to socialize, but when I was at Google, no one was hitting their numbers because businesses were bleeding cash, but it felt like I was such a failure. And I feel like I had to go through that, but it was just a reminder, it's not easy, but if you'd stick with it in sales, you start to realize you're not your performance. You're not you. And the reality is, just in my 9 years of experience, I found even the best reps will have maybe a famine year. There could be a pandemic, that you could have a bad territory, but then you push through, and the next year's a breakthrough. So little tangent, but I wanted to also say that working out, oh man, that's so, I love that you do it twice a day. And I've been up in the ante with that too. Doesn't it feel good? It's just a keystone habit that you do that everything else improves, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when and I tell people this all the time, I love to work out. I love to lift weights. But I understand that that's not everybody's thing. It's if your thing, I'm an avid walker too. I will put on my walking shoes and walk a good 3 to 6 miles per day. Put on your shoes and go for a walk. It doesn't have to be about lifting iron. It doesn't have to be about any of those things. And being a gym bro, it doesn't have to be about that. But movement in this space, because we are, sitting all day, and because we're being rejected all day, and what that does for your mental health, the movement helps different, so many different aspects. It helps the physical, it helps the mental for what we do. And so I cannot stress that enough. I am such I'm an avid, just a lover of anything and all things movement. So
Yeah.
please move your bodies, because it's a key. It's key.
Like, I don't know about you, but I'm super analytical, and it can
Yeah,
be
me too.
used in the right way, but also
Yeah.
really detrimental. And
Yeah.
so it's like, it's an
Yeah.
opportunity to get out of the head and into the physical body. Like if you're
Yes.
lifting weights, you're squatting heavy, you're bench pressing, or you're like sprinting or doing
Yeah.
yoga, like you can't, like, I think I read an article and you don't have the bandwidth, like your attention goes to the body.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you though, with your lifestyle transformation, don't you have a nice new gym at where you're at?
Yes, so the gym I've got is, oh guys, it's sweet. As a matter of fact, my apartment tour video drops on YouTube tomorrow. So
Okay.
stay tuned for that. Yeah, stay tuned for that. Ren Hawthorne on YouTube.
Perfect.
But yeah, so the gym that I have, it's fully equipped with everything, everything that I need. And it's upstairs on the 12th floor. And I just, I get up around 6:30 every day. I go up there, I get that workout in. And then I've got a boxing gym here in my neighborhood. And so I do boxing class around noon. And sometimes in the evenings, I might go for, depending on how anxious I feel, I might go back to the gym and lift some weights if I'm anxious. But typically after my first workout in the morning, after boxing in the afternoon, the rest of the day is just movement, cleaning the house or going for a walk around the neighborhood, what have you, until I start my new position anyways. So yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to dig into that for sure. I just had two more questions I wanted to get to.
Sure.
The meditation routine, obviously there's many flavors, but just any practical tips, like what do you use for meditation? Do you have a certain guide? Do you do it on your own? I'd love to hear about that. For
sure. So I've been doing the same thing since 2018. It's on YouTube. And it's just called, if you type in meditation music, it's typically one of the first ones that come up. And it's a bunch of gold Buddhas that are in this
Sounds
YouTube.
memorable.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And that's the one that I use. And it's about 20 minutes long. And I meditate multiple times a day, but that's typically like my longest one. Anywhere from, sometimes it's 20 minutes long. Sometimes, I'll meditate for 30 minutes, but typically first thing in the morning, 20-minute meditation.
Beautiful.
Off the start. Yeah. So that is honestly what helps me calm my mind. Even like I said the other day, when I just wasn't quite feeling myself, the reason I'm able to, not get so frantic anymore is because of meditation, because it helps me to calm my mind and to comb through my thoughts when I'm having them. So yeah, my meditation practice, it is literally just the meditation music that plays on my phone or, on the TV or, Alexa, whoever I'm playing it on. And I sit there in my actual pose, and everything is silenced. Phone is on do not disturb, because that time in the morning, that's another thing, guys. Quit rolling over and just getting straight on your phone. Spend some.
I've been doing that lately, actually. I need to hear that.
Yeah. Cool deal. Yeah. It's like
I'm addicted.
That time in the morning, it is so valuable, even if it's just a 5 to 10 minute prayer or 5 to 10 minute meditation moment, just make that time your time to do that, not being in your phone. And that is what I do first thing in the morning. My phone, for at least the first hour and a half of my day, no one is getting ring. No one is getting a text back, an email back, none of that stuff at 6:30 in the morning, anyways. So yeah.
And good to get the wake up time, 6:30, waking up before most of the world wakes up. And it's just a good reminder to win your day, like this is what's required to generate
Yes.
your day intentionally instead of playing the reaction game. And
Yep.
I preach this myself, but it's so funny how you could do it and walk the walk and then fall back. And I definitely have.
Absolutely.
Like I bet, you know, maybe I sleep in a little bit and then I'm reaction mode. I have a meeting already, but I didn't
Yeah.
get to like do that. Like you said, the prayer, the meditation. So
Yeah.
really good reminder to put first things first, and your well-being comes before anything. And I saw a TED talk that said people get the formula wrong. They think success brings happiness and well-being. Well, maybe they didn't say well-being, but success brings happiness, but happiness, and I'd throw in well-being, actually brings more success in your career.
Yeah.
So one other random question before we get to your new opportunity. It was kind of tied into the Zoom info day in the life, like kind of reality of the role. But I'm a guy, like I love the personalized outreach. I'm going to learn about Ren your tick and get all these nuggets off of LinkedIn and Twitter, and then like research the business, and it's going to be a like sniper shot, you know. What's the reality of what you're doing as Zoom info? Were you scaling with different tools and you had templates? Like, maybe I'm old school in that way, and I don't even know if old school is the right term, but were you like, what tools were you using, and was it like high volume, or did you do that kind of like personalized outreach as well?
Yeah, so definitely personalized outreach. I have to actually give a shout out to my former manager at Zoom Info, Jake. Jake made a really, really good point. He said, you know, Ren, you have a really great LinkedIn presence, and I'd really like to see you utilizing that with your outreach. And Chris, holy smokes, like that changed the game because, you know, I was sending off emails and, you know, we all know cold calling is king and all of that. But it's
I love it.
You know, but it's like once I took things to LinkedIn, and it's something more personal about that. You know, people are able to see your face, or you know how big I am on sending a voice memo.
Yeah,
So,
we met on LinkedIn, and your voice notes stood out, and
that's it. Like that's my last like month and a half or so at Zoom Info. I was seeing such huge success because I was reaching out to prospects on LinkedIn, and they were getting back to me at a much quicker rate than me just sending off an email or leaving a voicemail. So that was definitely one of the things that helped me a lot. And then, sending off a one-off email where you make it a little more personable. You know, if I don't know, if I have some kind of information on you or your company, I'm going to put that in there. Hey, or congratulations on the promotion. You know, that's awesome. You know, something like that. That goes a long way. And then it's like now they're looking at that email and they're like, oh, you know, this is for me. This wasn't sent to, you know, 100 other people. This was specifically made for me.
So we got to dig in a little bit to the LinkedIn piece. Like, practically speaking, like, I mean, you, first of all, you have a great presence there. So I think warmth exudes through your profile. I want to know, how did you reach out? Were you sending, like, I guess technically you have to send a request, connection request, note, and then if they accept you, like, can you walk us through what it looked like? Maybe even like the example connection request message, things like that.
Yeah, for sure. So so sending off the request, you know, if their page was, you know, one of those where you couldn't just send them a message, and then doing my reach out, and my reach out would always be through a voice note. I don't remember a single. It was always through voice notes. I've never sent while at Zoom Info, I never sent a prospect like something typed out on LinkedIn anyways. So it was always, hey, Chris, this is Ren from Zoom Info. You know, just stopping by. I know that you had stopped by our website. I just wanted to reach out and connect with you. I see that you're at Google, and, you know, I see that you're looking for XYZ. Wanted to be able to speak with you. You know, we've got a lot of great, cool things going on. So when you got a chance, just shoot me a message back. And at least 90 to 95% of the time, hey, Ren, by the way, I really love the voice note. So I'm looking into, you know, and then they go into whatever it is that they're looking for. So that,
I mean, Ren, I think that's like a nugget. Like, I've had so many guests, but again, that's just a uniquely Ren like piece of advice. And I remember in our last interview, you talked about that, and obviously you did that with me, but
yeah,
you're getting a 90% success rate.
at least 90%.
I'm going to start doing that. Like, I don't know why I didn't implement it myself, but that's so great. And here's the thing too, obviously, like, you have your tone of voice, you're very warm and welcoming.
Yeah.
And in communication, there's like some psychology thing of like, body language is the biggest thing, but that's, we're not in person.
Yep.
But tone is number 2.
Yes.
But also, I don't feel like it's like what you're saying is, there's some value in it and everything, but I think it's partly the way you're being and your tone as well.
Yeah.
So
that helps a lot. If you, it does, how you come across is really, really big, and I always try to make it like, hey, when you got some time, hey, just, reach out to me. And I know we would push like putting a time out there and, hey, I've got some time at 1:00 today. Will that work for you? And yes, that's fantastic. But what I found when I was sending the voice notes was, hey, when you get a chance, just get back to me. They always got back to me within a day, maybe 2 tops. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I'm taking notes. I'm starting to, I actually, I'm an account executive, second founding member at a startup I'm at.
Yes.
The reality is it's a big hunting role though. And I think like, as you move up, like, you will have BDRs, SDRs working for you, but I think the best of the best continue to prospect. So it's something that's a skill that's going to be useful for your whole career. And not even tech sales, you start your own company.
Yep.
And I want to hear, like, I feel like you have some new projects coming along, which I don't even dig into it. So maybe later, but that's golden. Is there anything else that, we're going to get to the new role.
Yeah. Oh, no worries, man. No worries.
Anything else that you do that you feel is like different? That the voice note certainly is. And if not, no worries, but thought I'd fit.
Anything else I feel is different. All I can honestly say is I think that how do I say this without making it sound like I'm tooting my own horn? I really do think that I'm able to just kind of meet people where they are. And just, I naturally can have a conversation with anybody. So I think that helps a lot to be able to just kind of be thrown in, whether it's, the CEO or the freaking, secretary. I'm able to have a conversation with anybody. And I think and I'm never going into it with a mindset of sell. I'm just always going into it with the mindset of having a conversation. And, if it leads to that and you're interested in the product and, we have, we're able to kind of solve one of your pain points, fantastic. But I'm always going into it leading with, let's have a conversation first. And so I think because I don't have a traditional sales background, I'm able to just kind of like, hey, let's talk about it. Yeah. So what are you looking for? Like how would your problem be solved? How would you like to see your problem be solved? And just kind of opening up that line of communication, I think it's just something that I have.
Yeah.
And that helps so much. So nothing necessarily that I do specifically outside of just being my true, genuine self. But I think for such a long time, I thought that my true, genuine self wasn't good enough. And now that I'm in this space, I'm seeing like, holy smokes, whether it's the coaching that I do or being in my actual role, I'm seeing that it's more than enough. I'm seeing that it's plenty and people are receiving it well. And it's getting my job done, and as well. So, yeah.
Man, well, I love that for you. And that's the goal for all of us, is to realize that we're enough. And
absolutely,
certainly looking back in my life, I struggled with that story, and it still pops up sometimes, like, not enough. It also can drive you to greatness, but I'm glad you're stepping into that. And I think if more of us could just let the guard down and be our authentic self and have a conversation, it's really disarming to prospects.
Yeah.
And that's how you get them to open up, and understanding too, like sometimes there's not a fit.
Exactly. That
Not
part
forcing it,
too. Yeah.
but building relationships over transactions and long-term relationships. Because as you continue to move up in tech sales, like you're going to find like maybe there's not a fit today, but it could be even like, who knows, a year down the road.
Exactly.
You get a monster deal. So,
exactly.
All right.
That's what happened with my new job. Once I share that story, that's
tell
exactly
us
how
about it. I mean, you got a great new opportunity you're about to start. So talk through like how you found out about it. Like also too, what drove the change? I think that's a key piece. So maybe, I guess both of those. Feel free to take it.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So the company that I worked for loved it. But I also kind of had this desire within me to, work for a company that, allowed me to bring about more change. I was looking at some startups. I was looking at, all kinds of things. And, I have a real heart and passion for children, humanitarian work, things like nature, animals, like that is my kind of thing, music. And so I'm like, well, how do I find a company that is going to allow me to put some of those things, to use in the workplace? Because I really am truly, I'm all about like helping people and service. And so, I started getting into like the ed tech space and becoming an SDR in the ed tech space. And I just, I was looking around trying to see what I could find and, kind of tailoring my resume to kind of fit that. And, from some of the experience that I have had. So, so I ended up finding the company that I just got hired on with now. I found them at the beginning of February, and they were hiring, or at least they had the posting that they were hiring for an SDR role. But by the time I got to it, they found someone for the position. So the recruiter was like, "Hey, Ren, thanks so much for reaching out, but that position has been filled." So at that time, I had also reached out to a couple of the employees that work at the company I got hired on with, just asking them about what their experience had been like and, what they like about the company so much and, all of those things. Well, the recruiter, she was like, the position's been filled, but if anything comes available down the line, I'll definitely reach out to you. 2 weeks ago, she reached out to me and she was like, "Hey, are you still interested?" And I was like, "Yes." And that then eventually started the process of me, going through the interview process, which went through all 4 rounds of interviews within about a week.
Wow.
And yeah.
So clearly they wanted to fast track you.
They wanted to fast track. Yeah.
Wow.
And
1 week. You
was
beat your 2-week record.
Exactly. I beat the 2-week
Crazy.
record.
That should have been the title of this. She got a job in 1 week. Maybe get some more
1
views.
week. That's it. That's all it took.
So cool.
And, I just went in there. And I think because I was and am just so passionate about the product that they sell. So they sell a product that helps kids with literacy, K through 12. It helps break real world content down for a first grader or a 12th grader, whatever level they are at. And me having a learning disability growing up and still dealing with that learning disability as an adult, that was something really, really like it just pulled at my heartstrings because they have levels to it to where, whatever learning level you are at, you're able to read the content and understand it on your level. So that's why it was just like a no-brainer for me.
I mean, what a dream to be able to be a force for good and a driving force for this amazing solution to help kids.
Yeah.
With is the term, I mean, I don't want to learning disabilities, you're saying?
Yeah. So
I don't want to misspeak, but
yeah, no, you're fine. So yeah, it helps kids of, learning disability or not.
okay, got it.
Yeah, but I like how they break it down to where if you do have a learning disability, there are different levels to the product to where you can understand it at your level, that it makes sense for you to understand the information that you're reading. So that's what, because growing up, I don't know if you remember, but my mom was my teacher in private school, and we had a thing called Hooked on Phonics.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hooked on Phonics was really awesome, and that helped me so much. So, I feel like this product is like the new age of that, and
Wow.
it's freaking awesome. It's absolutely incredible.
Shout out to great moms out there. Like my mom would read vocab words at the dinner table. It definitely helped me with my SAT. And
Yes.
I tell everyone this, but like on the nights in high school when I didn't want to do it, or even middle school, a project and I needed it done and I procrastinated, she would stay up with me to get it done. I mean, gosh,
I love that.
shout out to our moms. But
Absolutely.
all I'm saying is, that is the dream when you find a product, a solution that's solving a meaningful challenge that you're passionate about. That just makes you want to come to work, whether it's virtual or that you're in an office or not. And so, and talk about you're natural when it comes to connecting with people, but you're going to be so much more effective, believing in the product. The worst thing is imagine working for a company and you're just out of integrity because you don't believe in what it's doing, or it's a broken, system. Some people do that, but so that's just it brings me a lot of joy to hear you found that spot. And we got a guy, John Williams, that I've been working with, and I think, I don't know if you know him, but he just landed at a healthcare startup that offers better benefits to employees, like better care, cheaper costs. And he had a personal time with his grandma, going through how, this would have really helped her. And so, and that's the dream, if more people could find that. Now I started out at Oracle, and it's a database, and it's does that mean that meaningful? But there's ways to find meaning in that. I guess, a lot of the, believe it or not, a lot of technology in this world runs on Oracle. A lot of different things. I was at Starbucks and I see Oracle, but that's a better sit. Let's be real. Going to a startup where you really believe in what's going on and you get to have an impact is huge. So what are your thoughts though on the culture as well, beyond having an amazing product that you believe in? Yeah. You get a vibe for the culture where you're hey, this is a place where I'm around great people. I can really grow.
Yeah. So the first round of interview, it was with the recruiter, but the second round was with two of the managers at the company. And, sometimes you can interview for a company where they almost try to intimidate you, just by not, I never like interviews where people don't know how to smile. We're engaging here. We're talking, I'm trying to see if this is a right fit for me. You're trying to see if I'm a right fit for your company. Yes, but that doesn't mean that we can't, share a good laugh or a good chuckle, or, find something that we have in common. And so the entire process, everyone had the biggest smiles on their face. And it was genuine smiles. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, I'm like, wow, everyone looks genuinely happy to be here. And, and then you've got, most of them that I spoke to, they've been at this company for about 5 or 6 years. And they were they were beaming from ear to ear, talking about the company, talking about the product. And it's talking about, the camaraderie that they have. And that, for me, that won me over, because a lot of times we go into these positions or into these interviews hoping that we win them over. That won me over to where I said, you know what? This is a company that I would love to work for. Everyone from the managers to the senior VP was just all smiles and just, hey, with such enthusiasm. And the employees that I had spoken to, prior to my interview process, when I spoke to them, when I sent them a voice note, they sent me a voice note back. And the joy that came from their voice notes speaking about the company, for me, that was like, oh, decision made. And then, they're they're a diverse company as well. So yeah, it was just some of those things that I looked for that, I wasn't looking for my first time around, but now that I saw it, I was like, oh, wow, this is impressive. And I think I'm going to like it here.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you. And for anyone out there who's been trying for a while to break into tech sales, which is totally normal, by the way, like Ren is like a superstar, honestly, an anomaly. Usually don't break in 2 weeks or 1 week. It's possible for sure. Hang in there and continue to stay picky, have self-respect and realize you are evaluating them as well. Absolutely. So, network. Talk to people, see if they have the sparkle in their eye. Are they, other things practically, like, are people hitting their numbers? Like, it's good to know as well, but make sure there's a culture fit and it's a good fit for you. Never get to that point where you're like, oh, I'll just take anything. I think it's important to maintain that. And so wanted to ask you, Ren, there's definitely quite a few other things I want to ask you, but let's go here.
Sure.
Any mindset perspective for the folks, like, as we talked about this offline, like, you realize most people aren't going to get it in 1 or 2 weeks, but for some of the folks that have talked to you, I've been trying a long time.
Yeah.
Any encouragement for them? What would you say to them?
Guys, I tell a lot of people this. Please understand that it's not even necessarily anything that you're doing wrong. It's not your, if you feel like maybe your resume isn't up to par, or maybe you need more help, with interviewing, feel free, to reach out to me. I'd be glad to point you in the right direction of people that help with that. But a lot of times I've seen and spoken with people that they've got their ducks in a row. Resume looks great. They're super personable when they speak to people. Please understand that we are still very much so in a recession. And it is not necessarily you, right? It's not what you're doing. You're doing something wrong. The economy is just kind of all over the place, especially for, tech workers right now. And so, don't allow this to discourage you from still trying to get in. Because I promise you, this will change your life. All you need is that one yes, right? All you need is that one foot in the door. And that's what happened to me. I had no prior experience. I got that one yes. Now, I left such a wonderful company and I've moved on to something that better suits what, I was looking for. So all because of that one yes, it ended up opening the door, for this opportunity. So please stay in there, and know whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, or, 6 months, your time is coming. As cliche as it sounds, I promise it is. You just got to wait for the right time for your moment. Your moment is coming. I promise it is. It definitely is. Amen. And just,
Amen.
Just
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, just understand, everything it's looking hectic for, so many people right now. So please know that you're not alone. But please know that doesn't mean that your opportunity isn't right around the corner.
It is such a meaningful opportunity worth chasing. Ren, you've had a meteoric rise. You've transformed your lifestyle. I experienced the same thing. I'm 8-9 years in now, and it just gets better and better. I'm not saying it's always perfect. Again, you might have an off year. You might even experience a layoff. But once you get into the space, you build a network. That's your ultimate security net. And the skill set to navigate to an even better opportunity. But I'll tell you that the longer it takes to break in, or I think this applies to anything in life, the longer it takes to achieve a goal, when you do get it, which you will if you're committed, the joy is so much more profound.
Yes.
I was a dog walker as well, but I was for WAG, and that happened is I started Oracle for 3 years, get a promotion, doing well. And then Google actually reached out to me because Oracle's a good launchpad company. You know, they Google and other companies recruit from them because they have a good brand recognition and good training. And they reached out to me, right? And I brushed through the interviews or breezed through. There's these 2 board approvals you need after, like college admissions. It's kind of funky. I'm like, I got this. I'm good on paper. I went to a good university. And I voluntarily went to my boss at Oracle. I don't know if I told you this, Ren, and said, hey, I'm actually going to be working for Google. I want to let you know in advance. Right. And so I help you get my replacement. And so we picked, it's so crazy. I did that. Like, kind of like, I'll do this as Chris's way. Everyone's going to win. So I was so sure I was going to get the Google job. And what ended up happening is we picked a voluntary unemployment date two months down the road, because the recruiter, Jen, said, hey, like, you just need the board approvals. I feel good about it. And then you'll get a job offer. I picked that voluntary unemployment date. I actually get someone to take my spot set up, and fast forward 2 months, and I'm like having a panic attack in my seat. Google dragged their feet. And what ended up happening is I actually went into fun employment in Boston. I became a dog walker for WAG. And I was coming back from walking a dog, Finley, that was 5 pounds, and got a call from Jen that, well, we set it up. And she said, great news with the hiccup. You got the board approvals, but we hit a hiring freeze. So think about in the pandemic. I know Oracle right now, my alma mater, they're on a hiring freeze till June. There's a lot of companies that are in hiring freezes. And it just is what it is. And she said, I can't give you an offer for an indefinite period of time. I'm like, Jen, is there a chance this falls through? Yes. She said, yeah, there's a chance. And so it turned out to be 6 months of unemployment. But I held out for the dream. I actually held off from applying to other companies. I became a dog walker. I kind of invented and discovered the idea of YouTube, and found some passion, and beautiful things happened. But I started to get depressed, and I thought the dream was going to collapse. I finally got an email when I was like 6 months of unemployment, right? And starting to open up to applying to different companies. I'm like, I should just be practical. Maybe the dream's going to collapse. And I got an all caps email from Jen, had 1 extra interview, and ended up getting the job. And I like cried tears of joy. Like, that's an example. I know that's a long-winded story, but it took me like what I thought was like, maybe it was like a month process, turned into 7 months, and almost the dream falling through. All things out of my control. Yeah. But the joy was so profound. You know what I'm saying?
I love that.
So anyways, just.
Dude, that's the real story right there.
Yeah.
Wow. I never knew that.
Yeah. So that's, and you know, so the best things in life don't come easy. And so just don't give up. Like, even when you're in tech sales, right? Things happen. But okay. I got a couple more things for you, Ren.
Let's do it.
So we talked about a theme. I don't know. This is almost in the realm of like a spiritual realm, but we talked about what's driving your success. Yeah. And like, we haven't even talked about the fact that you're making cash money off of, you know, just, I'm sure, you know, you're coaching, you're really bringing value and helping people, and it's coming back to, you know, CourseCareer is a great program that you went through. There's affiliate partnerships that you and many others can benefit from, and you're making cash there on top of your success in tech sales. Things are flowing, and you talked about the idea of obedience being at the root of it. So let's talk about what that means and how it's like really kind of driving your success.
Yeah. So me personally, I'm a woman of faith. But even if you're not, there are some things, you know, when you are getting ready to do something that you shouldn't, right? Whatever you believe, there are things that you shouldn't do, right? And you don't hit that snooze button. You know, if you said you're going to go to the gym at 6:30, you get up, you go to the gym at 6:30. And, you know, what I found in just my faith walk is just being obedient to whatever I feel source is telling me to do or not to do. You know, that it's that guy driving slow that you just kind of want to, you know, tell him off in traffic. It's like just being obedient to, hey, like that's not who you are, you know. So I need for you to be what I've called you to be, which is a servant, which is a kind person, a genuine, loving person, you know, all of those kinds of things. So for me, it is being obedient and staying in the will of what source has for me. Because when I try to do everything on my own, things fall apart. Things fall apart, and it's never good. It never looks pretty. And then I'm, throwing my hands up like, man, what the heck? Why did this happen? But when I'm obedient and I do what I know that I need to be doing throughout the day, or how I treat people, how I treat myself, my thoughts, just those kinds of things, I find that everything just runs so smoothly. And I almost had a moment of like, just self-sabotage, because I felt, you ever feel like things are just running too smoothly?
I totally have felt that. It's so
Yeah,
when we have that thought, like, whoa, this is too good. Like, it's almost unsettling. And
good.
even recently, I had a little self-sabotage in my life. We don't need to get into it, but
Yeah,
it's always a thing. It's like, you have to stay vigilant and mindful,
absolutely.
It's just crazy how, like, I don't know if it's just that subconscious childlike, I think of the subconscious, like, brain and being like just a little child trying to like
Yeah,
mess things up. And it's like, it's never like goes away. But
yeah.
anyways, your thoughts.
No, you're so right. It's like I literally felt the old me trying to sabotage the new me, the new person that I'm becoming. And I felt like, wow, this is too good to be true. I don't know how long this is going to last.
Yeah.
And so therefore, I need to do something to mess it up. Guys, no. Whatever that thing is for you, whatever, because we all have our
So
weaknesses.
relatable.
Yeah, like I need everybody to know this. We all have our weaknesses. We all have our vices, and some of those vices are not good. And so my thing for you guys is, whatever it is that you're planning to pick back up, that you already put down to try to move to the next phase, please don't pick that back up. There's nothing back there but a bunch of trouble. And honestly, it just sets you back further. So whatever that thing is for you, I need for you to let that go. I need for you to put that down. And I'm in the same boat. I have things that I've wanted to pick back up, and then I think about it and I'm like, you've come so far. If you pick that up, just know what can happen is it's not good. It's not pretty. So please just know it's not worth it. And I know that the change is scary, right? All of this change in my life, making the kind of money I've been making, and, just being able to just live life so freely has actually been really scary. I've always known that I was going to be successful, but I've also always been afraid of success. And what I felt, the sacrifice, what I would have to sacrifice. And I'm here to tell you, you're going to have to sacrifice some stuff, and it's going to feel really uncomfortable, because you've gotten used to a version of yourself that you've gotten comfortable with. But you know what? That version doesn't get you to the next level. So you have got to let go of whatever that is in order to get to the next level. So that's what I mean by being obedient. Being obedient to the higher version and the newer version of yourself, and leaving that person that, did whatever in the past, because that person can't come with you to what God has for you next. It's impossible.
I couldn't have put that any better. So I'm not going to add anything to that, but to all of us, being more obedient and being willing to kind of let go of that old version of ourselves, and embrace, dive into the uncertainty, but the beauty of that best version of who we are, and breaking through to different levels. I was looking at a post from this guy, Brandon Fluharty, that you maybe, he's like,
Yeah, I think I've heard of him.
7 steps to 7 figures. I've had him on the channel as well.
Yeah.
And he's kind of that next stage. And I think he said something about levels, like you start out in tech sales or other careers, like you trade in your time for experience, your experience for money, and then that money for like true freedom, right?
Yeah.
As you make more money, maybe you get into real estate, and it's like there's like levels to the game, and it's exciting when you're breaking free to different levels. But there's also that uncertainty, and the subconscious is like, how do I even maintain this? Like, I'm afraid of it because it's different, but it's actually better. And so even for me at this stage of my career, I feel like I'm in a season of kind of breaking through to a different level. And I've noticed I'm glad you brought that up, but just a little bit of self-sabotage and fear. And it's like,
Yeah,
that's actually the place that we want to be.
it is.
So
It is. I
yeah,
love that. I love that. Yeah, I love that we can just have open and honest conversations like this, because it's like we're not the only ones. We're not the only ones that are just like, oh my gosh, things are going really well, and I'm afraid of what's going to happen next. We're not the only ones, and I'm here to tell you guys, on the other side, if you are obedient, if you stay consistent with the person and the version of yourself that you're becoming, the other side, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Don't go back there. There's nothing back there. Keep moving forward. It gets more and more beautiful by the day.
I love that. So let's finish up by, like, speaking of moving forward.
Yeah.
Talk about what's next beyond this exciting new opportunity to be fulfilled in your day-to-day tech sales role and sell something you believe in.
Yeah.
Can you speak at all to the projects you're working on? Things like that, like what's next for Ren?
Yeah. Some more YouTube content. And actually, I'm in the process of going to Atlanta in about 2 weeks, and shooting more music videos, because I'm getting back into the music side of things. So I'm excited about that. If you have not checked out my music, it is O'Day, Oade, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple. You can find me. So yeah, that's what's next. And then I'm also trying to work with a few people that had a lot of success through CourseCareers, and I'm trying to put together more of like a group coaching kind of a thing, to where we're not all doing individual phone calls every single night, because that can be time consuming, and it can drain energy as well. So yeah, just trying to put together something, more of a package. Still in the early stages of that, but that's what's next. And lots more YouTube content. Like I said, Ren Hawthorne on YouTube. Got my next video coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, and the next video tomorrow. So guys, again, Ren Hawthorne on YouTube, and I'll link it in the description. The next video is kind of on the new place, did you say?
Yeah. The next video is a tour. I just thought it would be fun just to kind of break away from, talking tech sales so much, and just kind of show people a little bit of me. So, everybody's kind of seen me on this journey. So I said, you know what, why not invite them to this part of things? So, I'm looking forward to that video dropping tomorrow.
Nothing like a good day in the life. So excited for that.
Exactly.
O'Day, you said, is the music. We'll link that, but it's Oadey.
Just Oade.
Okay, Oade. Just want to make sure we ingrain that in our brains. And then also, I think the group coaching is a great idea.
Yeah.
Building communities is huge.
Very much so.
I think that's so important. I encourage anyone out there to be a part of a community. I consider this YouTube, channel a community. And Ren, you're a key part of that, and really like a mentor to this whole group of people within this channel. But your reach extends far beyond. So thanks for generously sharing your beingness, your energy, your heart, your commitment, and your wisdom around tech sales. You're walking the walk, and it's exciting. So I feel like that's it, guys. We've got some great opportunities to check out what Ren's doing, and even, feel free to connect with Ren on LinkedIn and myself. I hope that's okay. And of course, subscribe to the channel for weekly videos, and happy selling, happy living. We'll see you in the next one.
Thanks, Chris.
All right.
Bye, guys.
I'll see you.